Asmongold's recent spree of I'm being canceled law. Yeah, I just like, I don't know. I think cancel culture is ridiculous. I've been quote unquote canceled a million times over. But if that is your end all be all, you might be a little bit of a debate pervert. I care about actions and I care about reactions. I care about outcomes. If your actions are good, okay, if your intent is good, if your actions are good, if you are advocating for the right things, you know, I don't really care. I don't really care about the hypocrisy. And I don't think many people care either. That's precisely the reason why hypocrisy fishing, with the exception of leftist purity spirals, doesn't really exist in the right-wing world at all. Like you rarely, with the exception of like the Steven Crowder drama with Candace Owens and then the Steven Crowder drama with Ben Shapiro, you rarely ever, his chat is so vile to you and your community too during the whole event coverage. Yeah, I don't know why, what has happened with Asmongold. He has taken like very brave stances in the past, despite scrutiny. So I don't know what he had to say about these protests, but a lot of people are very upset about what he has to say about these protests. The way he's always been this way. No, it doesn't matter. I think for me, Asmongold is like, Asmongold will have 10 takes total. Okay. 6 of those takes are going to be exactly what you expect. Okay. 6 of those takes are going to be exactly what you expect, right? 2 of those takes are going to be kind of like mealy mouth, like centrist stuff, maybe a little Fence City. And then randomly, 2 of those fucking takes at the end are going to be unimaginably based. And you're like, what? Where the fuck? Who? Why did he say those 2 things? And I care a lot about those 2 things. Why? Because a guy that looks like that, a guy that speaks to an entire fucking community of dudes who've been playing WoW for fucking 40 years at this point, god damn it. Very important to have those 2 base takes. So lately, I don't know. I feel like the last 2 base takes are gone. And it's just all now, all 10 of the takes are on the same spectrum. There are leftists shitting on protesters who are being photographed while being arrested, calling them conceited and engaging in vanity projects. Law absolutely unhinged. I fucking hate Twitter. Yeah. The problem with these kinds of things is that like the more you go down the anti-woke pipeline, and I don't know if it's like genuine or if it's maybe a little bit motivated by your own subreddit, motivated by the reaction that the crowd is giving. Which is ironic because a lot of people say that to me as well. They'll say like, I am victim or kidnapped by my own fucking chat. Like, that's why I constantly take the positions that I take. I must not believe them personally. And it's funny because I yell at my community quite a bit. And because I yell at my community quite a bit, especially when they do like weird rad lib shit that I find to be wrecker behavior, for example, like, I yell at my community all the time. I yell at them relentlessly when they engage in stuff, right? So I don't think I am audience captured at all in that regard. But my point is, sometimes you find yourself taking stances that you may not have taken a year ago or even a couple months ago because you're like, you get the warmness of like being in a community that's like advocating on your side unconditionally, fighting your battles. Asmongold's recent spree of I'm being canceled law. Yeah, I just like, I don't know. I think cancel culture is ridiculous. I've been quote unquote canceled a million times over. His chat called whoever was with the students a Hasan freak. It was a shithole. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's sad to see. Especially because like I don't think Gamergate 2 is like real, you know what I mean? I think it's just mostly mostly just like a couple content creators trying to desperately do this thing and desperately like tack on anything they can. And here's why I know it's not real. You know what I mean? Because every goddamn week, all of these fucking Gamergate 2 guys, and I'm not even talking about Asmon, I'm talking about the dudes that he watches and stuff, right? A lot of these Gamergate 2.0 guys are from Gamergate 1.0, right? And they will look at like whatever the new thing is and immediately go, it's woke and gay and I hate it. Wokeness ruined it. It sucks. And then the actual fucking video, like the actual content will come out, like the video game will come out, or Fallout, the TV show, will come out. And everyone's like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is amazing. So some of those guys that originally made the videos about how shitty Fallout was will then inevitably either double down or turn around and basically state that, you know, it's actually good. The Fallout thing is good because it's anti-woke. You see it a lot. You see it with the neck-bearded fucking losers like Quarter Chicken Pounder and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, they always do that. Well, they'll turn around and be like, oh, it's popular because it's actually anti-woke. Here's why. And basically, it's just grifting, you know? Real Goonergate is Hasan wearing a sleeve shirt today. Yeah, I wanted to pull a Stellar Blade devs on you motherfuckers and actually hide the goddamn guns today. Okay? I thought I was watching Zionist Direct when I read his chat and listened to his takes. Same as you feel like the same group of people. Yeah, I don't know where a lot of this stuff's coming from. But I guess like maybe normies feel this way. We'll see. I mean, it's entirely dependent. If Charlie Moist Critical comes out and like finally does a fucking Palestine video and he's like, yeah, fuck these students, they fucked around and found out, then I'll assume like that the normie meter that I thought I had was off, and that like a lot of the normies are actually very fucking reactionary towards the towards these protesters, you know? But I doubt XQC is unconditionally shitting on the protesters, considering that there's some fucking juicers in there. There's these little juicers are in the encampment. They're getting their little asses beat too. I think for a lot of people, I think the way I see it is like if you rely on your Reddit a lot as a vector, or as a means of communicating with your audience, and I think Asmon does. He has a very active Reddit. XQC used to have a more active Reddit, but I don't think his Reddit is as active now. A lot of Reddit is AstroTurf to oblivion, where like you hear some of the most unhinged right-wing takes as it pertains to like world news, you know? And I think that it does have the capacity to kind of change the vibes of an overall community. But yeah, I don't think that like it's so cringe in online brain that Asmon fans associate being pro-Palestine with you. It's just embarrassing. They're negatively polarized from an entire political moral cause because of one Twitch streamer they think is soy or something. Yeah, that's the pretty funny part, is that they think I'm fucking soy. But yeah, I don't know. I have only one thing to ask you, Hasan. Read his chat when you've seen the clips.
It's like us antagonizing the cops. Yeah, it's like it's a good thing that the cops took an L on that. Like, I mean, the cops didn't have to take an L on anything because they could shoot the protesters, but they don't do that, so.
That's crazy. That's crazy. It's also like positively not Texas to just have this attitude. You know what I mean? I thought Texans don't call 911, you know? Hasan viewer. I mean, they probably aren't wrong. Israel could nuke Gaza, but they don't. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff is just like might is right politics, you know? That's where it stems from. You just got to do everything you can to explain to people that that is not how these things work, right? I called him out and he didn't really go in on me, considering he can't say I got radicalized by you when I'm literally Palestinian. Also, thanks for the raid. Proud of those students. Yeah, Capri Sun Poppy. I don't know. I feel like it's pretty fucked up to cheer on.
I mean, I feel like that's
unconditionally. Like, and I said this on January 6th as well, so you guys even can't fucking catch me on this shit. Like, when January 6th was happening, I was shocked at the lack of police response, because that was like definitely a valid moment, because you had right-wing psychopaths like actually storming the fucking Capitol, right? Like, you had right-wing psychopaths like breaking in to a government building while there is literally a congressional proceeding occurring there, with a deliberate attempt to like openly kidnap politicians and stuff, right? Like, in that situation, that does warrant a police response. It's like one of the few instances where, like, hopefully there isn't like too much police violence, right? But that does warrant a police response. I don't think the UCLA peaceful encampments warrant a police response at all. And if anything, not last night, but the night prior, the counter protesters warranted a police response, and cops actually didn't do shit. They basically waited for an hour and 30 minutes for the counter protesters, who aren't even fucking students, to like literally try and blow up the encampments. And we watched it happen, and they did too. And then the university turned around and used that chaos, that lack of interest in protecting their own fucking students, as a reason to why more violence must occur on these peaceful encampments. Now, violence in the hands of the state. How is that any different? To me, I feel like it's very obvious what's going on here, and I don't think that police reaction of this sort is ever warranted unless there's like literally a fucking hostage situation going on. You know what I mean? Like, and even in that circumstance, like, you probably shouldn't do this either, right? I personally think that it is vile, and also I can make an argument specifically on the boundaries of like right-wing Americans, on the boundaries that they could understand as well. The argument is pretty clear. The Los Angeles Police Department wastes approximately $3 to $8 million every single day. That's their operational budget. A lot of that money gets brought out to play in overtime in situations like the one that you saw. Every dime that they spend cracking fucking students' skulls and violently arresting them for the crime of saying, I don't really like what Israel's doing, right? Every single dime could be spent on fixing fucking potholes, could be spent on training these goddamn pieces of shit so they actually do detective work, because they don't really solve crimes at all. That's the other aspect of this. Many of you that live in big cities know how little the cops give a single shit about actual theft, okay? You will have your bike stolen, cops will look at you like, dog. They're massive. They're bold barbarian monsters when it comes to beating the shit out of homeless people, right? But they absolutely suck when it comes to dealing with literal fucking crime. Hey, my car got stolen. Sorry, big dog. You're on your own. Figure it out. Let us know. File a report so your insurance can fucking, so you can claim it on your insurance. And that kind of stuff happens because we look to this moment and think that they're doing a good job here. They're not. When do you ever see the police come out in numbers like this and actually do something? Anything. When it comes down to like productive aspects of policing, like things that they're supposed to do. It just doesn't happen. It blows my goddamn mind. It's only when, remember when Myth had to steal his car back because the cops won't do anything? Yeah, I mean, it literally, that happened. That happened to friend of the show, Mythological.